All right, you guys, so my first videos of the year, forgive me if they are not going to be as good as they were last year, or better, or they're never going to be good. I get that. They're just for you guys. So question number 1, true or false? The slope of a vertical line is 0. Justify your answer. So a vertical line is, let me draw a coordinate point system. I know I'm not as good at drawing on here as Mr. Ryder. A vertical line is a line that goes straight up and down. Okay, so we know it's either going to have 0 slope or no slope. Okay, a horizontal line is also going to have 0 slope, but one is 0, one is no slope. So which one is which? Because the vertical line, let me pick a color here. Because the vertical line is only x is always equal to the same value and not y is equal to that value, you are not going to have any slope, okay? Because as you know, and this is something we need to review, if we have, what's the easiest way to remember a linear relationship? Y equals mx plus b. Okay. If we have x is equal to something only, like x is equal to 5, would be this vertical line right here, okay? There's no slope in x equals 5, okay? There's no slope in x equals 5, it's just x equals 5 all the time. In fact, if you remember, it is not even a function. That's why it is no slope, right? A function can only happen if it passes the vertical line test, which is a vertical line only passes through once. So the short answer is false, okay? And the justification is that a vertical line isn't a function and it's not going to have a slope, right? There would be no slope, or undefined slope is probably how you learned it. Undefined. Don't make fun of my writing. Number 2, true or false? The slope of a line perpendicular to the line y equals mx plus b is 1 over m. Justify your answer. This is also false because in order to have a perpendicular line, the justification is the slope is going to be the opposite. Actually, let me see if I can pull up the calculator. And it'll be easier to use Desmos. So here I entered in the red line on this one is y is equal to 5x plus 7, so my slope is 5, so that's the red line. And then what the question asks, would 1 over 5 be a line perpendicular to that line? And my y-intercept doesn't matter. I can make my y-intercept anything, and it's going to be the same slope right there, right? And we can make it 4, right? But you can tell just by looking at it that this is not 90 degrees right here, okay? This distance, or this rotation between the two lines is not 90 degrees, it's less than. What the justification is that the slope needs to be a negative reciprocal. So if we did y equals negative 1/5 x, and then let's do plus 5. Okay, you can see that the red and the orange line is going to be 90 degrees, but that blue line is not going to be 90 with either one of those. So it is the reciprocal, but it is the negative reciprocal of what's happening there. So it needs to be negative. Reciprocal would be your justification. It needs to be negative. Okay. All right. ¿Qué más? Whoops. 4. Nope. 3. We missed, didn't we? 3. Which of the following is an equation of the line through points negative 3, 4 with the slope of 1/2? So what we wanted you to remember here is that the very first thing we ever learned is that a linear relationship is y equals mx plus b. You can probably recite this in your sleep, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept, but there is another form that you could use, and it's called point slope form, which is what we want to use with this one because, you guys, we have a point and we have a slope, right? So we have point slope form. Something that may help you remember this is that the formula for slope is always y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? If you look at that, and I could go through the proof, I'm not going to in this video, but I might in class. If you look at this, you can see we have a y minus a y and an x minus an x, all right? So where you're going to see this in the point slope form is that it's going to be y minus y1 on this side is equal to the slope times x minus x1 on this side. And this format doesn't actually have the y-intercept. So if you have the y-intercept and the slope, you're going to want to use the slope-intercept form. Otherwise, if you have a point and a slope, you're going to want to use this form. So all we need to do now is go ahead and we'll put in the y value of the point here, the x value of the point here, and the slope here. So what that looks like, process of elimination, you might have been already able to figure this out. And don't forget on the SAT, that's going to be the fastest way to get through something. But here we're just going to have y minus, and then the y value of the point is 4, is equal to your slope, which is 1/2 times x. Now this is tricky part 2. Don't forget we're going to subtract a -3. But what that looks like in the answer is just x plus 3, because when we are subtracting a negative, we are adding a positive. So obviously the answer is A. Question number 4, which of the following is an equation of the vertical line through -2, 4? I wonder if you guys, I have Desmos still pulled up. I'm not sure if Desmos does this because it's not a function, but I actually think it does. If I put in x equals, and what is x equal to here? -2. Okay, that is the answer because x is going to be -2 here all the time, and I know it's a vertical line, so it's got to be straight up and down. The point -2, 4 is going to be right, I think I can write on this, you guys. -2, 4 is going to be right here. Okay, so it obviously goes through that point. It's a vertical line, and the answer is going to be E, y equals -2. Now, if instead it had said horizontal line, the answer would be y equals 4. And see how they're trying to trick you there? Because y equals 4 is actually an answer there, but only if it had said horizontal. All right. Number 5. Which of the following is the x-intercept of the line y equals 2x minus 5? So I think this is one of those things, again, that's a little bit tricky. They're trying to trick you. It wants the x-intercept, right? And what we have here is the y-intercept, right? And we know that. We know that the y-intercept occurs when x is equal to 0. But we also know that the x-intercept occurs when y is equal to 0. So what we're going to have to do here, you guys, is solve for y equals 0. So we'll change y to 0. 2x minus 5. We're going to solve this, add 5 to both sides. So 5 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2, and x equals what? 5 over 2, or 2.5. And it's positive. And see how they gave you one positive answer and one negative answer? So don't forget it's going to be the positive answer there. Next, 6. Which of the following is an equation of the line through point -2, -1, parallel to the line y equals -3x plus 1? So we're looking for something that is y equals, and we're looking that it has the same exact slope here, -3. So it could be this one. It could be this one. It could be this one. This one. So how do we narrow it down? Plateau, which of the following is the equation of the line through? Oh, because it needs to go through the point -2, -1, right? It needs to go through the point -2, -1. What we can do is we'll just throw it into point slope form because we have a point and we have a slope. So we have y minus the y value, so y minus -1 is equal to the slope -3 times x minus -2, which remember is just +2. And let's go over here and just do this also. Okay, and then all we have to do is simplify this into y-intercept form. So we have y plus 1, I'm going to distribute that slope, is equal to -3x minus 6, -3 times x, -3 times +2. And then I need to subtract this 1 from both sides. So I'm going to have y equals -3x minus 7. So it's going to be B. B. Question number 7. Oh, question number 7 has like A, B, C, D. Let's see if I can see them all. And then we'll stop this video. Determine the equations of the following lines. And it doesn't say, you guys, it doesn't say that it needs to be a linear relationship, but I think that that's implied in this particular one. And what we're going to do is find the slope here and then put it back and find the y-intercept. So we have y1 or y2 minus y1, so -4 minus 3 over x2 minus x1, so 2 minus -1, which is actually just 2 plus 1. Okay, so this -4 was y2, this +2 was x2, this 3 was y1, and this -1 was x1. So let's simplify that. We have a 3 on the denominator and a -7 on the numerator. That's our slope. Okay. And then what we need to do, oh, and then we can just put it in point slope form. We can just pick one of the points. Let's make this easy. And let's use the one with the 2 and the -4. So y minus -4, which is just y plus 4, is equal to the slope -7/3 times x minus 2. Okay, so that's a linear relationship. I'm going to stop this video here because I'm not sure I can do finish the next one before I run out of time. But be sure to check out video number 2.